야, 이 씨발 경찰 새끼야!
오빠
주니보이 노준서입니다.
Gil-ho comes to the Hyena Club and Prosecutor Min sends a message to Gil-ho to make a deal that Junseo will only trap Gil-ho. She said that Jae-hee leaves a bouquet of flowers for Yoonhwa, so Gil-ho must leave to save Jae-hee. While dropping Gil-ho off, Saiki is contacted by security that Prosecutor Min has come to the club, then Saiki tells Gil-ho to go in alone. Gil-ho calls Prosecutor Min and asks why he should trust her. Prosecutor Min explains that she is friends with Dongwoo and if he goes in, then they can't save Jae-hee. Junseo does something cruel by injecting and pulling the woman up until she almost runs out of breath. When the door opens, Junseo thinks it's Gil-ho, but it turns out it's Prosecutor Min. They are shocked and immediately clean up the drug residue. And it turns out that the woman is an actress who was paid to pretend to be Jae-hee. Prosecutor Min apparently hasn't hung up on Gil-ho, he knows that Jae-hee isn't there. And Gil-ho invites them to meet at his hideout. Prosecutor Min asks if Junseo really killed Yoonhwa. Gil-ho confirmed it and he didn't know what the motive was. That was when the VIPs called some girls and did whatever they wanted. Drugs, sex and making porn movies, and if someone died there was a team to clean up. They specifically did the cleaning. They were orphans, illegal immigrants, and North Koreans who were given jobs. Gil-ho took out Jang-hwa's body before they got rid of her, and he put it on the platform so that at least the police would investigate it. And it turned out that Junseo was targeting Jae-hee, not Gil-ho, because she had something they wanted to get rid of.
그게 뭔데?
Jae-hee borrowed money from Jin-young. She was her friend who worked under Gil-ho. They talked about Junseo bragging about taking over Hyena Club. He also opened a coliseum to celebrate the reopening. And also, the dealers will be paid triple if everything goes well. Jae-hee asked her to realize who killed Yoonhwa. But she said that life must go on, and she can't work because of Yoonhwa. Jae-hee told her to avoid the coliseum, because she wasn't smart enough to survive there. But Jin-young asked her to mind her own business. Prosecutor Tak is annoyed because Junseo killed the police. It was Captain Ju. Junseo thought he had taken care of it, so that Prosecutor Tak would not have to take responsibility. Because if he didn't take care of it, then they would all be in danger. Junseo then told Prosecutor Tak to control Prosecutor Min and Dongwoo. He reminded him that his income should not decrease until the Coliseum starts. And Prosecutor Tak also reminded him to look for Jae-hee and the video. Dongwoo and Prosecutor Min met Commissioner Moon at his residence. They discussed Prosecutor Tak, who might be involved, but they didn't have enough evidence. Because Commissioner Moon has connections with the Prosecutor General's office. Even though they have the same job, Commissioner Moon doesn't want to get involved. And Prosecutor Min still tried to get Commissioner Moon to help them because their goals are the same. People from the Prosecutor General's office came on Commissioner Moon's orders. They emphasized that once they were involved, Prosecutor Min would go after her own people in the prosecutor's office. Gil-ho told the prosecutor's office what he knew about Gangnam Trading Co. and Junseo's involvement. He also told that Junseo was the killer of Lee Gong-soo and Yoonhwa, but he had no evidence. Meanwhile, Oh Jin-young, Jae-hee's friend, came to Junseo's office. She said that she just met Jae-hee and of course that made Junseo happy. Then Dongwoo told Gil-ho to follow him, because now he was an important witness that Dongwoo had to protect. He took him to Django's place, but Django didn't like Gil-ho because he was just a broker. But Dongwoo told them to get along. It turned out that Jin-young told Gil-ho's friend, Young-kwan, where he was hiding. And they caught Young-kwan and also Jin-young. Meanwhile Gil-ho was curious about how Dongwoo knew Jae-hee. he said that his daughter was Jaehee's friend and asked Dongwoo to look for her. And it turned out that Gil-ho knew that his daughter was Yeseo because they had met. Dongwoo became suspicious that Gil-ho and his friends made his daughter like that because she had the same tattoo as Jaehee. Then Gil-ho told that Yeseo had cigarette marks. There are many on her arms. That's why she told Gil-ho to tattoo her. And what did her father do when his daughter was suffering? To the point of having to go to people like Gil-ho and Jaehee. Prosecutor Min saw the person from the Attorney General's office that he had collaborated with yesterday at the prosecutor's office. It turned out that their wives were college friends and that made Dongwoo angry too. Prosecutor Min planned to contact reporters and spread gossip about Gil-ho. Once they exposed the pimp Young Curry to the public, then Prosecutor Tak can't do much. But once the media reports it, the girls' lives will be ruined. So they have to find evidence to solve the case.
방법이 어떻게 가든 상관없다 이거예요?
Jaehee gets a message containing a video of them torturing Jin-young and Young-kwan. And Jaehee sends the video to Gil-ho and tells him that she will go to the Coliseum. Knowing that, Gil-ho is rushed away, and Django tells Dongwoo. He then calls Gil-ho and tells him to calm down, but he can't calm down because once Jaehee gets to the Coliseum, she could die. The Coliseum is a place where rich people gather and bet on bloody fights. And at that time Jaehee was almost hit by a car. It turned out that the man was also going to the Coliseum, then Jaehee also hitched a ride with him. Finally, the event at the Coliseum began. Among them there was Young-kwan who joined the fight. And they will give a prize for the last survivor of 2 billion won. At that time Jaehee managed to get out of the car and immediately looked for Jin-young. It turned out that they fought to the death and they will take out the dead participants. Gil-ho looks for Young-kwan and he wears a mask to join the fight and save Young-kwan. Meanwhile Jun-seo finds out about Jaehee's arrival and meets her. She gives the cell phone to Jun-seo, but the video is no longer on the cell phone. Then Jaehee wants to fight Jun-seo, but his men knock her down, and Jun-seo kicks Jaehee several times. Jaehee tells Jun-seo to kill her because if she is killed then the video will be spread. But Jun-seo instead scratched Jaehee's face using a knife. Finally, Gil-ho defeats his opponent and then Jun-soo shows Jaehee to Gil-ho. And Gil-ho is very angry seeing Jaehee's face full of blood. Then they put new people into the arena. And at that time the police came to the Coliseum parking lot. They brought an arrest warrant and made Jun-seo panic. The VIP guests left the Coliseum because of the police's arrival. Someone threw stones at the car window, driven by Saiki. Then Jun-seo beats Saiki because he is not good at driving car and told him to get out of the car. But Saiki locked the car door and didn't open the door. He didn't accept it because he was belittled by Jun-seo. Gil-ho, who didn't know Jaehee was in the car, beat Jun-seo. He didn't want to listen to Jun-seo, who said that Jaehee was in the car with Saiki. He kept beating Jun-seo until he was black and blue. Prosecutor Min stopped Saiki's car and saw Jaehee in the car. Gil-ho retaliated against Jun-seo's actions against his girls by scratching his face with a knife. Dongwoo saw it and stopped him because he could kill Jun-seo. But Gil-ho instead injured Dongwoo's hand and then Dongwoo hit him, so he could control himself. Dongwoo told him that they found Jaehee and she was safe. Now Jaehee is with Prosecutor Min. Jaehee was hospitalized and Dongwoo became her guardian. Prosecutor Min still felt something was odd because Gil-ho suddenly disappeared, because he was a suspect. But Dongwoo felt he was the bastard who stabbed his arm and escaped. Then when Prosecutor Min visited Jun-seo in the hospital, she was very shocked to see Jun-seo, whose neck was tied with a rope. And Prosecutor Tak gave a press conference about Jun-seo's death. Even though Junseo had died, he would still receive the consequences of his heinous crimes. Because of his cruelty, this case will continue until it is revealed. And at that time Prosecutor Min's office was searched by the inspection department. Of course that made Prosecutor Min angry with Prosecutor Tak. But Prosecutor Tak actually pressured Prosecutor Min, who arbitrarily reported his superior to the Attorney General's office. And she still acted arrogantly after seeing Junseo's death. Prosecutor Tak tell her to leave if she didn't want to lose the prosecutor's badge that she had worked so hard to get. Dongwoo got a call from his daughter, Yeseo, but when answered, it was a man's voice. Dongwoo was shocked and asked, where is his daughter? And it turned out that Yeseo was being held captive by a tattooed woman. Who actually is that woman?